I have been uploading my Valorant short form content, which is just encounters, interactions that I have with people in Valorant on my second channel. I uploaded a match where I was actually like playing with Cat, but I turned it into 2 shorts. I want to like play this and then I want to like talk about it because there are a lot of people who are trying to like gaslight me into believing that I am the aggressor here. And I want to like explain how trans experiences are often being undermined, invalidated. Anyways, this is when homophobes are trans allies. Let me just play this. So I go into the lobby, I meow, it's a vibe check, and then this is like their reaction to it.
This is the 4th game in a row.
Yeah, bro, mute yourself immediately.
I have never seen these people in the entire session, just so you know. Bro is saying this is the 4th time in a row somebody has meowed, but it's not me. I don't think I meowed for you though.
Oh, you are fucking.
Oh my
pissed.
god.
The reaction to it was already like, you know, I'm now like on the defense. I have people in my comments say that like zesty is actually a positive word. Maybe in your friend group, if you call each other zesty or fruity, it might be like as a positive word. But generally, the way he said it was not positive. And it typically is a derogatory term for a gay man who is feminine. A feminine gay man, the same when it comes to like fruity. And the reaction of the, oh my god, right? I was like, okay, I'm going to get attacked for my voice.
Are you transgender?
I am trans, yes.
What, did you go from a girl to a guy?
I think you're just trying to find a way to like properly like invalidate me.
No.
No, why would I think that?
I'm just asking you a question.
trans.
You're being rude to me for no
I
reason.
mean, remember at the start of the lobby when I started speaking?
What are you? Are you a girl or a boy now?
No, I just said you because you were meowing.
He didn't even say ew. He was just complaining that I meowed, and then I spoke, and then he did the oh my god to my voice. I think there was like a reaction afterwards.
I'm trying to de-escalate the situation because I made a mistake. And
I mean, you could have just like apologized instead of trying to gaslight me into believing that you are actually super supportive.
I am supportive now. I've changed my mind.
Now that I'm trans, you're changing your mind. You want to have like a genuine conversation with me about that? Whereas before you just thought that I was a gay man. Like I find it so fascinating to like be a dick and then they're trying to play like the victim because I'm not giving them a straight answer. The moment he saw a trans flag, the moment he knew that I was trans, he switched up his tune completely, trying to like be supportive. Even like, you know, this Yoru, the guy with like the blue text who was like still harassing me and so on. He was like even defending me from this guy and he wanted to get like props for it. He came into my stream afterwards to say that like, oh, like, why was I so rude to him? I was like defending you or something. And, you know, the gaslighting. The gaslighting is something that I wanted to highlight. I wanted to showcase how, like, this guy is homophobic. And I immediately went on, like, the defense, right? Because, like, okay, now you're just, like, trying to, like, find a way how to, like, actually attack me. Because oftentimes when people like this ask me for my pronouns or whatnot, they want to weaponize that. They want to use this information in order to just like turn it around and make me feel like shit in the right way, right? They want to not accidentally affirm me. So a lot of times when guys like this ask me, I'm not giving them an answer, and I called him out on this behavior, and then he tried to like play the victim and he tried to gaslight me and say that like it was just about like because I meowed. And you know, a lot of people in the comments are also using that as like a justification that like I'm getting shit because like I meowed. I meowed into this guy's ear, so apparently like all of like the harassment, all of like, you know, the gross behavior is actually like warranted because like I deserve this because I meowed. Then there's like the other aspect as like a trans person who deals with this behavior a lot of times, who can tell a lot of times like how genuine somebody is. I have a lot of people in my comments, you know, every now and then also people like this come into my streams because they don't put themselves into the shoes of me. They put themselves into the shoes of like the transphobe because maybe they're also transphobic, because maybe they're also doing things that can be seen as transphobic, because it's just like a cis person. They resonate more with like a cis person talking to a trans person. They don't want to like actually insert themselves and put themselves into my shoes. They just want to like justify this behavior and make me feel like I am, you know, the bad one. Note that this is still in the same game with the Euro that is still asking me if I'm a boy or a girl, and he really wants to know, and like a lot of weird things happening that I, you know, cut out. But I made like the second shot, which is this one.
Yo, tell this clove to
There we go.
I want to know what gender this thing is.
Do you think that I owe you like an actual honest answer to that? First up, me being called a thing, incredibly weird. I wasn't talking to this guy. He previously like was mocking my voice, and he said something weird about like, oh, you can't find your dream husband here or something. With this same Phoenix still in the game asking me about like what I am. So obviously I'm not going to say this, because even if the Phoenix is not going to weaponize it, I for sure know that the Euro is going to weaponize it. I kind of saw these people as like a duo, as like a group, you know, like guys, you know, being like shitty towards a trans woman together. So it's kind of like indistinguishable. And I'm just like on the defense. I'm shielding myself. I'm protecting myself. I'm preserving my self-respect.
Yo, tell this clove to unmute. I want to know what gender this thing is.
Do you think that I owe you like an actual honest answer to that?
You just have to say it, bro. It's not that complicated.
Oh no, it's just about the principle.
Wait, what should I call you? Dad?
These people always ask these invasive questions. The same when it comes to like, oh, do you have a hole or a pole? Are you a biological male or a female? You know, they always like ask these questions, and then we are expected to answer them and be you know, very forthcoming and highlight everything. And if we push back, then it's like, oh, the answer should have been, it would have avoided all of like the gross behavior, right? Completely dismissing that even if I was forthcoming with like that information, even if I'm being asked if I got it chopped off and I answer it honestly, and then I'm being like sexualized and I'm being harassed and so on, like that is completely being ignored, right? Like I have made numerous experiences with people, not just in the video game, but also in real life that are like this. And it's essentially like, you know, if you have a cis man harassing a cis woman, and then people are like in the comments being like, oh, you should have just given him your snap, you should have given him your number, you should have just like played into it, you shouldn't have been so confrontational. Like it's always like the victim's fault for like how they behave. It's not about like how, you know, the cis guy is acting. It's not about like the abuser that is like actually weird and horrible. It's not about holding them accountable. It's about like the victim didn't act properly in this situation. And I'm just like, as a trans person, I'm just expected to talk to like every cis person who like asks me these invasive questions, even if they are like completely disrespectful and they call me like a thing and they're like weird to me, they are mocking my voice, they're laughing at me. You know, I need to be like forthcoming. I need to like open up about this, and I need to be honest with them. I also have like the other aspect when I'm being asked if I'm a femboy and I'm like, do you want me to be? I have people in my comments oftentimes be like, oh, you're actually the reason why so many cis people think that like being a femboy is the same as being a trans woman. It is not my fault for people seeing like the trans flag and calling me a lady boy and asking me if I'm a femboy. It is not my fault for the voice that I have to be asked if I'm a boy or a girl and like playing into it, having fun with this. And it's not one single person's fault. It's not one single creator's fault that like the overall general perception of people, especially like guys, is that like femininity is inherently something sexual. It's not a woman's fault for the way that she dresses, that she gets like sexually harassed and so on. If I want to speak, if I'm just giving like call outs, right? Like all I have is my voice that is like androgynous, that is like fluctuating between like being perceived as a woman's and sometimes being perceived as a man's voice, and me having like a trans banner and so on. Like it's not my fault why people constantly ask me these questions, why people feel entitled to knowing this. I don't need to answer these questions openly. I can be confrontational. I can be, you know, sassy about it. I can push back against it in order to showcase to these people that it is not okay to just like ask these questions and then like insist on asking it over and over again, like in the span of like a 10-minute match, getting asked if I'm a boy or girl 15 times. Every single time. I don't want to answer that. People just need to take a hint.
They? Refrigerator?
Whatever you want to call me, I don't give a shit.
So you're not a gender, okay? You're like non-pronounceable.
Yeah, I'm like an eldritch being, actually.
Do you have a job?
I do, yeah, I do this for a living.
She's playing
Actually,
for
so
living,
hard.
bro. You gotta lock in, bro.
What I cut out from this short, from the segment, is actually that like the Phoenix and the Euro, at the start, the Phoenix was like, oh, she, and then Euro was like, how do you know it's a she? How do you know it's a she? And then Phoenix was like, oh, let's just say they. Then they had like another conversation about like me saying like, oh yeah, I do this for a living. And they both just like dropped the act and just called me she. And I don't think that would have happened if I told them that I'm just a trans woman. I don't think it would have like gone into that direction. A lot of times these people also just like read me as a woman, but then they see like the trans flag, or like sometimes my voice fluctuates in a way to like throw them off or something, and they get like really confused about it. And they think, are you a gay man? Are you a femboy? Are you a woman? Like, what are you? But sometimes there are also people who just like hear my voice and they think, oh, that's just a woman. But they want to be a dick about it because I don't sound like the other cis women that they are familiar with. I was like talking with Kat about that, right? You know, she as a cis woman, especially with like a deeper feminine voice, also gets a lot of shit because there are also like so many people who are doing like voice trolling and so on. A lot of times, right, like cis women get that too, but like the frequency when it comes to me, it's just constant. People do not understand what it's like to like play a game for like multiple hours and get these interactions, you know, just because I'm speaking, just because of my voice. For them, it might be like the first time they are asking this, or maybe like the second time they are asking this. But for me, it's like I'm being asked this frequently. So people, they're not putting themselves into my shoes, they're putting themselves into the shoes of other cis people, because like it's so complicated to like talk to us. There are a lot of people who are obviously like missing the point, right? Holy shit, I'm trans, but you're for real insufferable. They ask one question and you're starting pissing yourself in rage. I feel like anytime somebody is like, I'm trans, but I have trans friends. But anytime I see comments like this, it kind of like feels like a psyop. The same here. I'm a trans woman. I think it fits within one of my least favorite trans categories. If you actually break down what they are saying without trying to make them the bad guy, they're asking for pronouns and then immediately start mocking them because they ask. You immediately go into the lobby, do weird things. It genuinely just feels like a psyop. It's like, oh, I me out, and I had people being weird to me and harass me in this way. Like, it's a very good vibe check. That's kind of like why I do it. But like, people are like, oh, you can't redeem yourself. Oh, this is why people hate talking to trans people. Oh, I misgendered a trans woman once and I got labeled transphobic. How you react afterwards when you're being confronted, when somebody pushes back on you, like that shows a lot about you. The moment I started speaking, bro thinks I'm a gay man. He gives me homophobia. He sees the trans flag. It's like, oh, that's most likely a trans woman. And then, you know, is like very invested, very interested about me, and then plays like the victim, and then defends me in front of like that Euro who is like being even more pushy. It is weird behavior, and it sucks how people cannot see this, right? I feel like a lot of trans people who have encounters like this, they're going to like understand this. They're going to see why I protected myself, why I wasn't like in the mood to like play their game. But like a lot of cis people, especially those that are transphobic, are going to just try to justify this and downplay this because they love supporting abusers. I actually like felt, you know, a little bit guilty because I was like, okay, maybe I was like misremembering. Maybe I was like a little bit too mean to like the Phoenix. But then I looked back and I heard the reaction. I heard like the way he said, oh my God. And when I started speaking, and I was like, no, this was justified. And you cannot spin this into like a wholesome encounter that could have been salvaged by me being forthcoming and being like super supportive and being accepting.